What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you, and one that I have been really stoked to go over just because I've been a huge fan of this band.
We.
But I got into him first. I got you into him, I'm pretty sure.
He did get me into them, and we'll talk about that later. But we excited. We both psyched.
We just saw this band not too long ago. So yeah, we are going to go over the latest offering from Necrot, Lifeless Birth. This also comes out on the 12th of April on Tank Crimes Records. This band formed in 2011 in Oakland, California. This is their third full length. I've been a fan of this band since pretty much their demo collection. I picked it up kind of as a random blind buy just because I liked the album cover. That still works occasionally. But it was their full-length debut, Blood Offerings, that absolutely cemented my fandom. We actually reviewed their last one, Mortal. It was also a banger. And like I said, we've seen this band. We kind of had like pretty high expectations, but I mean, also we kind of knew that this was probably going to be pretty awesome because this is just flat out old school death metal. Features current and former members of bands like Acephalix, Vastum, and Mortuous. And yeah, if you love riffy death metal, you should probably love Necrot.
Yes, that is a safe assumption. I got into these guys on their last album, Mortal. When we reviewed it, I was like, yeah, this is badass. And so I kind of knew that this would be badass anyway, and especially having just seen these guys. And I know they played at least 2 songs off this record. Sadly, I don't remember which 2 at this moment, but it's not a big deal. I knew this was going to be good, and it is. And yeah, if you like riffs, yeah, you're probably going to like this.
This band's sound is very much a throwback to 90s death metal. I mean, there's a ton of bands out there that do that, but this has been one of those bands I just think does it exceedingly well. Well, they kind of have like one lane they lurk in. It's kind of a wide lane, and they find a lot of interesting flavors to kind of expand just that flat out old school 90s death metal sound. The opening track and first single, Cut the Cord, while it's just gritty and grisly and uglier than hell, there is a great kind of melodic hook to it. Like, it lurks somewhere in between, like, early death and At the Gates.
Yeah, and it's instant. That hook is instant. In fact, you're going to find that all over this record. Just from the moment they first strike the first chord, it's on to the races. And the harmonics used in these hooks, as far as the tremolos are concerned, is just pure bliss to the ear.
Absolutely. Like, this band I wouldn't call, like, melodic death metal at all.
No.
Like, this is just flat-out death metal. But they have a knack for melody and just, I don't know, like, flat-out catchy riffs. Like, there is not a song on here that does not have just a sweet, catchy riff. And the riffs have character. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. They are busy with intricate hooks, like lots of hammer-ons, pull-offs, frequently harmonized riffs, great tremolos, great thrashy sections, some just flat-out brutal as hell chugging. You can kind of get that on just about every single song in here because they kind of just explore the riff wheelhouse, and whatever I think sounds good is like, yeah, that sounded awesome. Let's kind of dry hump that for a bit and see if we can get these meatheads circling around the pit.
But then again, I wouldn't really call most of this chuggy either. Like, it happens from time to time. There's a chuggy breakdown in Dead Memories. There's a little bit of chuggy in the massive ending song, The Curse, but really most of it's tremolos. The opening track, Drill the Skull, Winds of Hell, The Curse, all have these really awesome crawling tremolos to them. And then they harmonize them, which makes them even more evil and disgusting and filthy sounding. A bunch of stank-faced moments all over this. I think Nick and I both have just spent time going, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Sour lemons all day long.
Yep.
Especially on, like, Drill the Skull. Drill the Skull, I have to say, that needs to be a live staple in the set. Great chorus hook, and one of the cool things with this song, and honestly a fair amount of these, is generally the first riff you hear is going to be that chorus hook. And it's, again, like an instant earworm. So I kind of like that they kind of lead in with that. Like, they have an instant earworm right away, and then they kind of tease it, and then once they revisit it, like, oh yeah, and now I get to hear them say, or more than likely the song title over it, but it's even cooler now. Like, Drill the Skull is a mosh pit anthem.
Oh, yeah.
It's groovy, it's sinister, that broken down riff in the beginning that does become the chorus hook. It's just instantly just like it's just kind of ooga booging all over the pit. And when it switches from those chuggy riffs to that really sinister tremolo harmony, I mean, again, this band just knows how to like latch on to like the best parts of death metal, whether it's a good melodic hook or just an absolutely bone-crunching riff. And I have to say that this kind of ramps up the aggression a little bit. Their albums generally aren't like super blasty, but this one definitely seems to feature a lot more blast beats and sections, like the title track. The title track might be one of the heaviest songs they've ever written. That song instantly explodes into blast beats. There's blast beats all along the bridge. The riffs on that are just unbelievably aggressive, kind of forsaking melody for the sake of like, listen, I want this to inspire you to maybe destroy something.
Yeah, really, like the first 3 songs are balls to the wall straight out of the gate, and they don't really leave that tempo range at all. There's a really cool stomping tremolo riff in Lifeless Birth, but for the most part, it's just they're off to the races, and there's no stopping.
Yeah.
There's no holds barred. They're just, let's go. Let's fucking go.
There's like no intro, like lead in, no atmosphere, like, you know, like, ooh, we have spooky soundscapes, not even like horror synths, which honestly would fit perfectly well in here.
Yeah.
But this is like very much just straight and to the point, and how this album flows is just one beat down after the next. You really don't even get a chance to like catch your breath and kind of recover from what the last song did to you. Like, oh, we're going again? I'm already kind of winded, but let's do it.
Oh, my back, my knees, it's over. I need to sit. Nope, can't do that.
Your neck.
Oh, my God, my neck.
Yeah, this is a neck wrecker. Like, you will headbang throughout all this just because, again, there's like frequent groovy sections. And I have to say, when this band decides to really kind of unleash the riff fest, it's almost always on the bridge. The bridge of these songs is generally where they just kind of like explore different riff types. You get to hear more thrashy sections come up. There's even some like almost blackened hooks on Winds of Hell and Dead Memories. Like the tremolos kind of take on a colder, more sinister sound. And again, the harmonies are a little bit, I don't know, like more sinister and evil sounding, but not like death metal sinister, like black metal sinister. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It sounds evil either way, and it's a different kind of evil. And I don't know, I kind of like that. Again, like the bridge is generally where these songs really kind of open up the floodgates in terms of like different riff types and leads. The leads on here are generally very short, but they're very flavorful, and they almost always kind of like fit the song in different ways. Like sometimes you'll just get like a dive bomb riddled lead on there. Sometimes you'll have multiple leads and they'll both sound different. Or on Dead Memories, where you have like the longest lead on there, and honestly, it's possibly one of the most melodic moments on the entire album. This album isn't like bereft of melody, but when it pops up, it's generally more of like, that's a catchy riff.
Yeah.
Like it's different than saying, oh wow, that's a really just pretty sing-songy moment. I mean, it doesn't happen in death metal often. But there are like some moments where like, wow, that is actually kind of pretty sounding. And I think that lead was probably one of the first ones that I caught. I was like, dude, that's just, I don't know, like just kind of pleasant.
Superior, too. Superior has like 3 leads in it, and the second one I thought was particularly more tuneful versus the, you know, dive bombs or the little random squealies or whatever is happening. The second lead in Superior I thought was pretty spot on.
Drill the Skull 2 also has a really awesome bridge section on there, because the song, for the most part, is a more straightforward, groovy stomper. Like, it's the pit anthem. Like, it's the one that everyone's gonna, like, sing back because that chorus.
Well, of course they are, because that fucking chorus, and they isolate it, too, and it's gang vocals. Like, they want you to pump your fist.
This is the part. This is the audience participation part. All right, now get back to spinning, meatheads. But the bridge really kind of opens it up a bit in terms of, like, just getting blastier. There's a D-beat section. Again, the leads come in. But they always anchor it back to that main riff. And, I mean, again, these guys know how to write, like, just a solid, catchy riff. So I love these frequent bookends. You're constantly revisiting awesome moments in a song on all of these songs.
My favorite bookend is in The Curse, though. The 8.5-minute epic opus. I don't know what you would call it. Like that's such a good song, and it's full of riffs. Just non-stop, sweet, evil, gnarly ass riffs. But my favorite bookend is the opening to The Curse is nasty, and then they bookend it again at the end just to remind you who the kings of 90s death metal worship are.
That song in particular, like, I love the very dynamic chorus, and again, that main tremolo that goes through it, like, it kind of slithers through the song. It's a little bit more slow and lumbering. It does build up in speed, but I just like the fact that this one just really lays on the riffs. There's a lot of cool changes in it. And in terms of, like, the song structure in here, like, you could pretty much say a lot of this is very straightforward, but it's very well constructed and very well paced. Again, like, there's no real breaks between these tracks in terms of, like, even a sample or keyboards or anything like that. It's going constantly. But the whole experience is a very smooth listen across the board. There's only a few moments on here where I would say the transitions were a little bit more jagged than they are on the rest of the album. A couple on Dead Memories, there's some really just kind of nutty shifts on there. Like, it goes from like a straightforward bolt thrower groove, like double time, let's stomp everyone in our path sort of vibe, to these almost kind of like grindy fits of blast beats, and then it kind of circles right back to that groove again. Like, that little blast beat section's almost like a weird transition or a tag.
It's a tag. It seems more like a tag on the end of that groove pattern, because it doesn't last for long either. That blast only lasts for maybe a half a measure before it circles back and goes into the groove, and then has that weird blast tag. Like, it's kind of strange. Actually, a lot of the melodies in Dead Memories reminded me of Slayer.
Yeah.
Straight up.
There's a particular moment on there where it almost sounds like a nod to Mandatory Suicide off of South of Heaven. And I mean, that's like one of my favorite tracks off of that album anyway. And production-wise, like, in terms of like capturing that old school 90s sound, they 100% got it. And there's a good reason too. They got Greg Wilkinson, who's been producing a ton of stuff. You know, Static Abyss, Deathgrave, like, the dude's in a lot of awesome bands and produces for a lot of awesome bands. And once again, like, I like his gritty, disgusting mix, but it's well balanced. Like, you can still make out every riff. There's not any, like, just, you know, mud on it. He once again worked with Brad Boatwright, who has done some mastering work with him before. They make a great team. And yeah, the overall sound of this is a throwback, but it's just a good, vicious, crunchy, disgusting throwback. And metal like this needs to have grit on it. If you're gonna do like 90s gritty death metal, like Cannibal Corpse or Carcass or Autopsy or anything like that, there needs to be some just kind of gristle on it still.
And there is.
Oh, there's plenty of it. But as far as like any negatives, like, again, the transitions on Dead Memories, that's about it.
And that's a nitpicky one.
It really is.
Because it is a really good song.
Yeah, it doesn't sideline the song at all.
Yep, I can't knock that song whatsoever. I guess if I really wanted to get like nitty gritty, I could be like, but
I can't knock any of these songs.
No.
That was the one song I was like, yeah, I could formulate a complaint. But it's such a minor one that honestly it doesn't hurt this at all. This is absolutely fantastic. I think this is better than Mortal. I don't know if it's as good as Blood Offerings, because that's still kind of like my constant favorite, but this is an absolute banger. All killer, no filler, 4.5 stars. I love this. Like, this is just a streamlined battering of just awesome 90s death metal. If you have been a fan of death metal since the 90s, you'll absolutely love this. And if you're just a fan of death metal and you love 90s style, gritty, old school death metal, you're gonna dig this. And I will just 100% say that it is like 90% because, dude, riffs. Man, these guys just don't miss on the riff department. That's kind of universal across their very short but very powerful discography. Every song in here is catchy, but it isn't catchy in like a poppy or more accessible way. Like, this is just 100% gritty meat and potatoes death metal that just knows how to write a seriously awesome but also ugly and evil hook. If you're a big fan, again, of death and, you know, Obituary, Bolt Thrower, just classic sounding awesome death metal, check this out. This album is absolutely amazing. And while you're at it, if this is your first one, go get the other two because you're gonna want them.
I'm going to start talking first from now on. It's a 4.5 for me, too. This is awesome. I know we've said riffs a million times, but I'm going to say them at least 3 times more riffs all day long. And they're catchy from beginning to end, and even the shit in the middle that has nothing to do with the opening riff or the ending riff, like, they just keep going. And I love that they're all pretty much tremolos, and they're all harmonized, and they're all very evil and sinister sounding, and just filthy, full of stank-faced moments. And they're not reinventing the wheel as far as technicality is concerned. It is very meat and potatoes as far as the style is concerned, but man, is it good and aggressive. And there's a good mixture of aggressive and groovy, and everything is catchy, and from song to song, it's like you can't wait to hear what happens next. And around every corner you turn, you're just like, oh man, that was badass. Because riffs, I don't know what else to say. Like, the production is spot on. Every song is awesome. I can't even nitpick Dead Memories. Like, it's good. It's all super good. And if you're a fan of, again, old school 90s sounding death metal bands like Morbid Angel and Death, even some newer acts, Skeletal Remains, I heard a lot of that in there. Yeah, you're probably really going to like this, and if you're a Necrot fan from before, you're still going to be a Necrot fan. I would definitely recommend marching over to your local record store and picking this motherfucker up, because it is that good.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our Patreon link is there. It is also on our channel, up in the banner in the bottom right-hand corner. But if you are looking for Thralls Metal stuff, you have to go to thrallsmetal.com. We have t-shirts, both old and new. The older ones are discounted, provided we have your size. We even have hats, too. So if you want any of that stuff, click the link down below.
And as always, thank you. Thank you to our fans and our subscribers, all you guys and gals, at least the 0.3% of the gals in the audience. But we thank you too. We appreciate you. We keep doing this for you guys. We've got tons of album reviews coming. Discography rankings. Meshuggah is next, assuming we ever get to it. States of Metal. Other stuff. There's other stuff. We have tons of stuff. We do tons of stuff all the time. We do so much stuff that I can't even remember half of what we do all the time, because we just do this all the time, and it's for you, and we thank you.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule. Again, this is kind of a bullet train series of reviews here, because while you're watching this, I am in Philadelphia watching a bunch of bands and hanging out.
Yeah, he's actually gone right now.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I'm not here. He can't even see me. Well, that's because he's my imaginary friend. He's not actually real first. But no, seriously, you guys absolutely rule. I'm just going to throw out one more big thank you, because you guys rule, and we will catch you later.